everyone, it's Sunny, and it's time. Today is the day. The day is today. Spy Family Code White, yay! So the Spy Family movie has finally been released in the US, and I'm lucky enough that the theater near me is showing it starting this week. The movie was originally released in Japan in December of last year, and I've been patiently waiting, and it's finally here. And I'm a big fan of the anime and the manga, and I hear that this is going to be a movie original story, so I'm excited to see what they have in store for us. So I have seen the trailer, but I don't know too much plot-wise beyond what is in the trailer, but based on the trailer itself and the anime, it looks like it's going to be amazing. So showtime is in the afternoon. I'll take you along with me. We're gonna have a fun time with the Forgers, and afterwards I'll come back and give you some of my thoughts and impressions of the film overall. Let's go! Hi, I'm back and wanted to give you all some of my thoughts on the film. So just to give a quick summary based on the trailer and synopsis released, in this movie, Lloyd receives an order that he's going to be replaced in Operation Strix. And so to prevent his replacement and show that he's making progress on his mission, Lloyd decides to help Anya win a cooking competition that's taking place at Eden Academy. And the Forgers head to the region of Regis to learn to make a dessert while also having a family weekend winter getaway. And along the way, Anya mistakenly gets involved in a series of events that will threaten world peace. And so, as I mentioned before, this film is an original story, which means that it's a standalone. And it's technically canon, but also not canon in the sense that it's not really a part of the overarching story. And this film is not high stakes. You're not going to see the characters referencing the events of the movie in the actual anime or manga. So it's kind of similar to one of the Detective Conan movies or Hero Academia movies in that sense. So firstly, I enjoyed the plot. The way that the conflict and situation in the film kicks off with Anya, it felt very comedic and slightly absurd in nature. It was kind of reminiscent of a book called City of Thieves by David Benioff, but of course, this is like a much more family-friendly version. And I say though that the cute absurdity of it all is definitely in line with the tone of the anime. And the situation unfolds and all of the plot line just come together very neatly at the end, and it brought a lot of funny, exciting, and emotional moments that I think is pretty satisfying. And in terms of animation, I thought the quality was amazing as expected. There were beautiful cinematic shots in the emotional scenes, and the action and fight scenes were intense. They were also varied and creative, and there were great perspective shots in some of the more daily, normal scenes that mirrored the narrative. And there was also nice accompanying music, but I wouldn't say that it stood out. And overall, the animation quality is actually quite similar to what you see in the anime, which is already very high quality. And this isn't always the case for some existing anime franchises. I also thought the setting and scenery were very nice. The region of Regis, where they visit, is so pretty. It's like a ski town during the holidays or a town in Northern Europe. And I also really like the character outfits and the anime food. Like, it just looks so good. And character-wise, we see almost all of the characters, including the side characters, make cameos in the movie. But it's very centered on Lloyd, Yor, and Anya, as expected. And we see flashes of their backstories, their motivations, and troubles. And it's really continuing the narrative from some of the more recent episodes in the anime. So fans of the anime may feel that it's a little bit repeated, but overall, the plot was kind of simplified from what you expect to see in the anime, and this works just to make it more accessible to a wider audience. And to share my favorite parts, there were just so many new Anya expressions, and I think I could have watched the film alone for that. And personally, I also really love the cute family bonding scenes, especially with Anya, Bond, and Yor. And I do have a couple of additional scenes that I want to talk about, but there may be some spoilers, so feel free to skip ahead a bit for those of you who are planning to watch the film. So firstly, the scene that no one can get out of their heads, that one toilet scene. It was so extra, but in this anime, all the extra parts are always animated so well. And I do really enjoy how the directors are always playing with different animation styles. And I don't know, I did enjoy that scene a lot. And, that's how it be sometimes. I also really enjoyed Yor's fight scenes. The villain felt kind of like a Hero Academia villain or something straight out of Pluto or Ghost in the Shell. At first I thought it was kind of random, but contextually maybe it wasn't that random. And I also really enjoyed Lloyd's fight scene. The way that his fights play out are all really fun and creative, and I enjoyed the fun color grading that reminds me of the exciting spy sequences from the anime opening song from season 1. And also Yor and Lloyd, their relationship, just always asking each other the things that don't need to be asked and not asking the things that need to be asked, are flirty and oblivious couple. And as I mentioned before, most of the side characters got little cameos, and personally I enjoyed Bond and Nightfall's appearances, but I would say that they didn't get as much of a spotlight where they actually get to like show themselves off. And I also realized that there were a lot of movie original villains, but not really any original friends or allies. But that doesn't really take away from the story for me that much, just because original characters tend not to reappear much anyways. And yeah, it was just very centered on our trio and the fight scenes, particularly on Lloyd and Yor. Even Anya, I feel like, didn't have as big of a scene or moment in the resolution as I was hoping for, but she is just a kid whose priority is the toilet, so it's understandable. And finally, I really love the ending. Despite the fact that they'll continue to have challenges due to their secrets and the nature of Operation Strix, they're getting closer and closer, and it feels like they'll continue to have a lot of fun outings and adventures going forward. And also, someone give my boy Lloyd a vacation. So overall, if I had to give this film a rating, I would give it an 8 out of 10, and it played out similarly to my expectations. I didn't expect anything groundbreaking, but it was super fun and had great quality. And I would recommend this film for people of all ages if you're looking for a good time, something with great animation, something cute and exciting to watch on a day off, especially when it gets closer to the winter holidays again, then this movie is it. And you don't need to have read the manga or watched the anime. It's a great standalone that everyone can enjoy. And if you are a fan of the manga or anime, just know that you won't get any big revelations or narrative drivers that change the main story. But it's still very enjoyable, especially on a comedic level. And the style and tone of the movie is also very in line with that of the anime. So for those who will be watching the movie, there is also a very short post-credit scene that you can look out for. So yeah, that concludes my thoughts. For those of you who have watched the movie, what did you think? And for those of you who haven't, what are you looking forward to? Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions, and hope to see you in the next one. Bye!